Okay, please take your positions. Just some, first of all, we are only seeing the top heads of the speakers, Mrs. Finley.
Okay.
Or
No, they're
will
gonna
they be
stand.
approaching the
They're going to
podium?
stand. They're going to stand.
They're going to stand. All right. I remember this face from last season. Is this the same speaker? How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you, miss. How are you doing?
Not bad at all. Please lift the phone up a bit so we can see your face.
Hi, Michelle. Can you make me co-host?
I'm seeing our JHTA chapter chairperson. We like your background, Mrs. Castley. Very nice
I
indeed.
follow instructions very well. Thank you, Michelle.
All
It's a
right,
pleasure to be here
so,
this morning.
oh, wow, this is beautiful. And you go well with the colors and the pins. I'm not getting through to Kenya to do Lang, but we will begin because we know time is of the essence for persons like yourself who is very busy. I will open. We are now streaming live on YouTube. So I will get the names. Unfortunately, I'm getting the names just now. So I just want to get the names. Okay, let us begin. Now, Munro College, you're aware because I spoke to your coach Finley that Hydel High has forfeited, so you will move forward to the quarterfinals. However, you are still asked to make your presentation and a very important presentation, right? And you're well prepared. You will not do the rebuttals. You will speak during the time allocated just the same because we do have our timekeeper with us. All right, for those of you who are unaware, who have just joined us online, cruise ship berthing refers to the process of docking a cruise ship at a specific location, typically a pier or quay in a port. And so the motion this morning is around the docking of, or the berthing, I should say, of cruise ships in Jamaica. So, good morning and welcome to the highly anticipated debate where Munro College will present the motion. This house believes that cruise ship berthing should be removed from Jamaica's tourist products. We have observing the match this morning, Mrs. Carrie and Quayla Castley, Regional Director, Regional Commercial Director for the Royalton Resorts and Suites. And she also sits as the GHDA chapter chairperson for Montego Bay. We also have with us Coach Paula Finley from Munro College. And we are very honored by Mrs. Castle's presence this morning. We should have had Kenya Keduleng, who is the destination manager at TPDCO, and that's the Tourism Product Development Company. And so she may join us later, but I am sure she can view the match on our YouTube channel. Those of you joining us online, welcome. The first speaker is allowed 7 minutes, the second speaker 5 minutes, third speaker 3 minutes. We will not have a rebuttal this morning, but we will invite Munro College first speaker to begin. And our speakers this morning is Joshua Howell, Attain Wright, and Jakeen Stewart. Can we have a spotlight on Munro College, please? Okay, and this is our first speaker, Joshua Howell.
Yes,
All
miss.
right, Joshua, you may go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed judges and respected audience, good morning. I stand before you today as the Prime Minister of this House, advocating for a crucial motion. This House believes that cruise ship berthing should be removed from Jamaica's tourist product. Before delving into the heart of our argument, allow me to clarify some key terms for better understanding of the topic at hand. Firstly, according to the International Chamber of Shipping, a cruise ship is a large ship like a hotel that people travel on for pleasure. And according to the Britannica, a berth is a place in the water near the shore where a ship stops. So therefore, in the context of this debate, cruise ship berthing is the docking and accommodation of cruise ships at Jamaican ports for the purpose of tourism. In this debate, we seek to posit, 1, the cruise ship berthing causes significant economic leakage, undermining local businesses and workers. 2, the environmental degradation caused by cruise ships is irreparable and tarnishes Jamaica's natural beauty. 3, dependence on cruise ship tourism is a short-sighted and fragile economic strategy. Cruise ship tourism is a facade that disguises economic exploitation as growth. Research by the Caribbean Tourism Organization reveals that cruise passengers spend significantly less than land-based tourists, with an average daily expenditure of just 70 USD per passenger compared to the 150 USD by other tourists. The bulk of this spending flows directly to cruise lines, leaving local economies with only a fraction of this revenue. A report from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development underscores this disparity, highlighting how cruise companies often secure exclusive contracts with port authorities, prioritizing profits for the cruise industry by controlling access to prime retail spaces and tourist activities, sidelining local businesses. The World Bank has analyzed Jamaica's Falmouth cruise port as a case study to illustrate this dynamic. Passengers often remain within designated shopping and dining zones operated by international companies, reducing the chances of meaningful engagement with the surrounding communities. Oxfam International has echoed these concerns, identifying the cruise industry as a significant contributor to enclave tourism, where tourist spending is trapped within corporate-controlled areas. Environmental economists, such as those cited by the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, argue that cruise tourism often exacerbates economic inequities. Local artisans, taxi operators, and small businesses are left to compete in an uneven playing field where multinational corporations dominate. Moreover, a report by the Tourism Concern, a UK-based advocacy group, states that only 10 to 20% of passenger expenditure reaches the host destination, the rest being absorbed by the cruise companies. In contrast, the Journal of Sustainable Tourism finds that land-based tourism offers a more equitable distribution of wealth. Tourists who stay in locally owned hotels, dine in community-run restaurants, and purchase directly from artisans contribute significantly more to local economies, fostering job creation, cultural preservation, and economic stability. Even Bloomberg has criticized the cruise industry's exploitative model, reporting that many Caribbean islands face rising infrastructure costs to accommodate mega ships while reaping minimal economic rewards. This burden is especially heavy on nations like Jamaica, which must also contend with environmental degradation caused by increased maritime traffic. How can Jamaica's economy thrive when foreign corporations capture the lion's share of tourism revenue, leaving local businesses and workers struggling to make ends meet? Mr. Speaker, relying on cruise ship tourism as part of our economic framework is neither sustainable nor beneficial for Jamaica. The World Travel and Tourism Council highlights the inherent vulnerability of cruise tourism to global disruptions, such as pandemics, economic recessions, and geopolitical instability. When COVID-19 struck, the cruise industry came to a grinding halt. This exposed significant vulnerabilities in communities near cruise ports, where thousands of workers face unemployment. A study by the United Nations World Tourism Organization revealed in contrast that countries with diversified tourism models, prioritizing land-based, eco-friendly, and cultural tourism, recovered faster from pandemic's economic fallout. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, cruise tourism is especially susceptible to consumer confidence shock. When recessions hit, households cut discretionary spending, and luxuries like cruises are among the first to go. Bloomberg Economics noted that during the 2008 financial crisis, global cruise bookings dropped by 14% in 1 year. Adding to this, research from Oceania shows how health crises on board cruise ships, such as the infamous COVID-19 outbreaks, can tarnish an entire destination's reputation. Tourists avoid areas associated with such incidents long after the crisis has passed. Mr. Speaker, we must ask, does it make sense to cling to an industry that has consistently failed to deliver meaningful benefits, or should we invest in a tourism model that strengthens our communities, safeguards our environment, and ensures economic resilience? In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, cruise ship berthing is nothing but a guided anchor, shiny on the surface, but weighing Jamaica down. It exploits our economy, devastates our environment, and leaves us vulnerable to global disruptions. If the opposition wants to defend this sinking ship, they are welcome to go down with it, but we on the proposition believe Jamaica deserves to chart a course towards sustainability and true prosperity. Let us seize this opportunity to build an industry that not only withstands global disruptions, but strives through them. The government pauses.
Thank you. Go ahead with our second speaker.
All protocols observed. Prevention is better than cure. Mr. Speaker, this well-known adage emphasizes the importance of taking action before problems become unmanageable. Today, I stand before you to argue that the environmental cost of cruise ship berthing in Jamaica is far too high, a cost we simply cannot afford if we're serious about sustainable development. The environmental cost of cruise ship berthing is significant, as cruise ships pollute coastal waters with untreated waste, oil spills, and harmful emissions. Research from the Caribbean Shipping Association highlights how these pollutants threaten marine life and coral reefs, which are critical to both our environment and economy. A report by the International Maritime Organization reveals that cruise ships generate large amounts of wastewater, including untreated sewage, bilge water, and gray water from kitchens and laundries, which are often discharged into the ocean. These pollutants contain heavy metals, bacteria, and chemicals that wreak havoc on our marine ecosystems. Mr. Speaker, the impact of this pollution is devastating. Consider Falmouth, a once picturesque town with crystal clear water and thriving biodiversity. It now suffers from polluted waters due to increased cruise ship activities. Data from the Journal of Environmental Management shows that port cities like Falmouth experience up to a 30% decline in coral reef health within a 10-kilometer radius of major cruise berths. Coral reefs, vital for sustaining marine biodiversity and supporting local fisheries, are being smothered by sedimentation and pollutants caused by cruise operations. Further, Friends of the Earth points out that a single large cruise ship emits as much sulfur dioxide as 13 million cars in a single day. These emissions contribute significantly to air pollution, acid rain, and climate change, all of which further endanger Jamaica's ecosystem. The UE Seismic Research Center also warns that heavy cruise traffic exacerbates coastal erosion, undermining natural defenses against storm surges and rising sea levels, issues critical for an island nation like ours, where climate change is often resilience for our crucial survival. Mr. Speaker, the solution to this problem lies in adopting more sustainable tourism practices, as my first speaker mentioned. Cultural tourism, ecotourism, and other forms of tourism that contribute less to environmental impacts should be prioritized. These alternatives not only reduce the environmental footprint, but also help to preserve Jamaica's natural beauty for future generations. Moreover, we should reallocate resources to address any small nuances that may arise from the removal of cruise ship berthing, ensuring that the economic benefits of tourism continue to flow into Jamaica while eliminating the environmental harm caused by cruise industry. Mr. Speaker, let us not be blinded by short-term economic gains at the expense of our long-term environmental health. We must prioritize sustainable practices and protect Jamaica's natural heritage. For once it is lost, no amount of revenue can bring it back. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the environmental cost of cruise ship berthing is far too high, and the negative effects on our ecosystem and economy are undeniable. It is time for us to take preventative action, focusing on sustainable tourism that will protect Jamaica's future. Thank you.
And thank you. We will now invite Jakeem Stewart, that was Otain Wright, to join us at the podium.
All protocols observed. Let me consolidate the government's case. First, economic exploitation. Cruise ship tourism is a system designed to enrich multinational corporations at the expense of host destinations. Cruise lines monopolize the tourism experience, sidelining local businesses and stifling opportunities for Jamaicans, evidenced by Oxfam International 2021. Worse, their contribution to our local economy are meager. While cruise companies enjoy tax breaks and minimal fees, it's our taxpayers who bear the financial burden of maintaining infrastructure, evidenced by UNCTAD 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic laid bare the dangers of relying on this fragile industry, leaving economies that depend on it vulnerable and exposed. Mr. Speaker, this is not a sustainable model for growth. It is exploitation masquerading as opportunity. Second, environmental degradation. The environmental cost of cruise ship tourism is devastating and cannot be ignored. These vessels destroy untreated sewage, oil, and plastic into our oceans, inflicting long-term harm on marine ecosystems, evidenced by IMO 2020. Port expansions obliterate mangroves, robbing us of vital storm protection and biodiversity. Meanwhile, greenhouse gas emissions from cruise ships contribute significantly to climate change, jeopardizing Jamaica's very existence as a small state island, evidenced by Friends of the Earth 2020. Even coral reefs, which support local fisheries and attract tourists, are being destroyed. Mr. Speaker, Jamaica's natural beauty is our lifeblood. How can we allow it to be destroyed for fleeting profits? Finally, economic fragility. Cruise ship tourism is a volatile and unsustainable pillar upon which to build our economy. The sector's low-wage jobs and economic leakage benefits foreign businesses while leaving Jamaicans with the scraps. The COVID-19 pandemic exposed just how precarious this industry truly is. Climate change further threatens the viability of cruise itineraries, creating an uncertain future. Even worse, cruise lines exploit their dominance to inflate local service costs, drain money from our communities, evidenced by Tourism Concern 2021. Jamaica deserves a diversified tourism sector that builds resilience, fosters local entrepreneurship, and delivers lasting prosperity. Mr. Speaker, the decision is clear. We must reject this unsustainable approach and embrace a path of genuine economic, environmental, and social sustainability. Let us safeguard Jamaica's heritage, protect our natural resources, and secure a brighter future for generations to come. The government rests. Thank you.
Very, very strong speakers indeed. They were coached by Paula Finley, and we have with us Munro College. For those of you who would have joined us later in the morning, the motion is this House believes that cruise ship berthing should be removed from Jamaica's tourism product. We have with us Mrs. Carrie Taylor Castley. She is the chapter chairperson for GHT Montego Bay and also the regional commercial director at Royalton Suites. I'll invite her now to maybe make a few comments on what she heard this morning.
Thank you, Michelle. I must commend Munro on an exceptional delivery. I can tell that you have done your research. Your arguments were very compelling, very strong. I particularly liked speaker number one. I believe that is Joshua. I thought that you enunciated your words. You were very confident, sure about the content. You gave some very strong information regarding the negative impact regarding the moot, where cruise ship berthing should be removed from the tourism product. All speakers, I can see that you have done your research, so commendations, but speaker number one, I think you really outlined many of the negative impacts, economic leakages, all the situation regarding the environment, the dependence on cruise ship tourism is really seen as a short-term vision in your mind. And you talk about the revenue really going back to the cruise ships, the cruise industry, and not really trickling into the industry for the artisans, the juta guys, what have you, right? Sound research, as I said, outlining the negative impact of the cruise berthing, my beg your pardon, and the good level of confidence and overall general deportment, commendable. My only advice would be for speaker number 2 and 3, just slow down, less gesticulation for all 3 men. Slow down, get your delivery across, and more eye contact, less reading. I thought you were reading a lot. I'm not quite sure of the timeline in terms of your preparation, but once again, overall, I think you have gotten your view. Strong arguments defending this, supporting this moot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Castley. And thank you, Paula Finley. We have with us Shara Dawson, our production assistant. When we return, we will have our final match with the Carterets. We want to thank you for tuning on with us on our YouTube channel. And good luck to all the students who will now move forward to the quarterfinals. We'd like to also thank our sponsors, the GHTA and Royalton Resorts. I am your host, Michelle Tuller.